single parents, cohabitating couples, step families, and multi-generation parenting.
That's the way we all became the Brady Bunch.
Today in the United States, so-called non-traditional families now outnumber traditional ones. Hi, I'm Brooke, and welcome to SLP Discussions, where we're discussing non-traditional families. As cultural expectations and economic conditions changed, so too did the look of the American family. In 1970, 67% of Americans ages 25 to 49 were living with their spouse and one or more children. Over the past 5 decades, that share has dropped to 37%.
So in some ways, the family code has developed with society. For example, when we calculate child support, the court will consider whether or not you're paying child support from a prior marriage or relationship. But in many respects, it hasn't evolved, right? There's a lot of questions that still remain unanswered. And I think the court is going to be forced to, look at these issues more closely as they become, non-traditional families become more of the norm.
If we've got a blended family or a step family, right, we want to be careful that when the first partner passes away, everything doesn't flow to the surviving partner, and then that surviving partner could disinherit, the deceased partner's children or family or whatever where they wanted their estate to go. So we can protect each family's portion a couple of ways, either by having separate trusts, or we can have some disclaimer language in the trust that makes the deceased partner's portion in an irrevocable trust after they die.
As of right now, the law doesn't give step parents any rights, but maybe that's going to change over time as we see non-traditional families and blended families becoming more the norm. Or, another question that courts haven't answered is, what does it look like when we have parents parenting together, but they're not necessarily married? I mean, we do have paternity actions, but that doesn't really account necessarily for this more non-traditional social structure that we're setting up to raise children in.
If you're not married, if you have these relationships, if maybe you've invested together on something, that's where it becomes the most important thing, because as far as the law is concerned, even though you during your lifetime you're intimately entwined in this person's life, according to the law, they're a stranger. They don't have any right to any notice or any reimbursement. And in that case, I think that each person could have or should have an individual trust. You may also want, if people are comfortable with that, just have one attorney do everything so they work well together.
How do you think these shifts will influence the next generation? Will they create stronger, more resilient family bonds? Or will they introduce complexities we have yet to understand? Thanks for watching SLP Discussions.